Good afternoon. So we approached this very uncelebrant-like. No prepared notes, no talking points. We decided we wanted to replicate as best we could what it was like to actually be married to a celebrant, which is just be prepared and just show up. Because you kind of never know what's going to come down the pike. In a lot of respects, it's kind of like being part of a sitcom. You know, every week there's a different narrative. Sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad, and you really just have to be prepared for whatever happens. I'm here out of gratitude because when Dory and I got married 23 years ago, my hope was that Dory would find something that she was very, very passionate about and something that filled her soul. And for the first 15 years of marriage, that wasn't there. And then she stumbled on celebrancy, and she has taken to it like a duck to water. And I kind of view my job as being there to help sustain it as much as possible. While she's busy doing ceremonies, my job is to pay attention to the magic that's happening all around us, and to take into account the politics of marriage, and make sure that Orli is on board with everything that's going on. And one of the things when I first came in, one of the things I realized, Dory's perfect for this, because one of the things that she does often and frustrates me and Orli to no end is she asks us questions all the time. And I'm a lawyer for a living, and I'm used to having answers. And Dory has this magical touch of always knowing the one question to ask me that I have no answer for. And I love when I'll go see friends of ours, and I'll get some little tidbit that I'll bring home, and I'm so proud of this little kernel that I'm bringing home to the family, and I'll tell her about it, and sure enough she'll ask me something that I hadn't thought about, and it'll just frustrate me to no end. Orli can speak a little bit about kind of what her role in all this is, but one of the things, we live on a farm out in Western Jersey, and I kind of view my job as being a source for Dory when something comes up where she needs some kind of sports reference. That's me. And when she needs some kind of musical reference or Broadway reference, that's Orli. And Orli kind of views herself as Dory's good luck charm. You want to talk a little bit about?
Well, I actually haven't done this recently, but for at least the first few years when my mom was a celebrant, she'd always go to meet couples at Borders or like Starbucks or something, or Panera, and I would go with her usually, whatever, I'd go to Borders because I love Borders or something. And at the end of the meeting, she'd introduce me to the couple, that they were meeting with her to see if, they wanted her to do their wedding. And every single couple that she introduced me to, which had to be at least 15 or whatever, she got every single one. And then there was one time when she took me with her, and I was there, but she forgot to introduce me, and she didn't get it. And I just said, I must be, I'm your good luck charm. Every time you introduce me, you get the ceremony. And then one time, she introduced Dad, too, and she still got it, so he works for the good luck charm. Yeah, so that was a running joke for a while, and I guess it worked. But yeah, that's one of my parts in this, I guess. Oh, sure.
I think the other thing that's really important is we try to bring as much humor into the house as possible. Dory and I have a running battle, which unfortunately Orli is subject to, which is which of the two of us is funniest. And Orli has yet to kind of give up what the real true answer is. Although I deep down inside I kind of suspect what the answer is, but she's too political to really kind of reveal it. But it's also, we like to try to create as many rituals around the house as possible so that we kind of continue to keep that ceremonial spirit in the house. It's kind of hard as a lawyer to live a ritualistic life, but Dory's kind of given me a sense of allowing myself to be in touch with that. And my job is just to be really, really flexible, because she does both weddings and rites of passages and funerals, and obviously you can't be ready for when somebody's going to pass away. So, you know, I've got to be ready at the drop of a hat to make sure that I'm doing what I can do to support her. Orli does the same thing as best she can as a 16-year-old, to kind of support her in, you know, whatever she needs to make sure that she's got what she needs to make it work. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience, but, you know, that's it. Yeah.
Do you want to give us some examples of what she needs? I'm thinking time, quiet.
I think more often than not, perspective. I mean, her office is way upstairs. She's got total privacy, and she's got all the time she needs. And you know, both of us are not demanding of her time. I mean, we know when she's doing a ceremony that she needs to have that time alone to kind of, you know, do what she needs to do. But I kind of view my role, and I think Orli does too, is making sure she gets perspective. That she doesn't get too immersed in it, and there's other stuff. You know, especially if she's doing a funeral, to make sure that she doesn't get so, you know, wrapped up in the emotion of what's going on. And the other thing is, you know, not to kind of get sucked into the story and the gossip that comes behind, you know, when a couple's getting married, because there's a lot, you know, there can be a lot of gossip, and I've kind of made a promise to myself that I don't want to hear it. I mean, it's not my business, and you know, and again, it's part of that perspective. It allows Dory, I think, and she can answer better than I can, to maintain a professionalism to the way she approaches it.
Well, I have another story I could tell about how I kind of play into my mom being a celebrant. When she started off being a celebrant, and she read something about, you know, the fourth wall and how you picture people that like support you on the fourth wall. So originally, when she was doing ceremonies, she would picture me as part of her fourth wall, I guess, you know, watching like as a comforting thing, you know, when you're speaking to people who you don't know. And like, I don't know if it was like a year or two into after she'd become a celebrant, she did one of my dad's best friend's weddings. So it was the first ceremony of hers that I was actually at. And I must have been in like 6th grade, so I was like 12, I guess. And I was, you know, I was sitting there, and I guess I was sitting like with my head on my hand or something. Like I probably didn't look like I was paying attention. And right afterwards, she said that you're taking off my fourth wall. You know, I can't, like, so, but then later on, we were talking about the ceremony, and I was bringing up all these details, I guess, that like not even like my dad didn't even remember, and even she didn't remember some of them. And like she realized that I actually was paying really close attention. It just didn't look like it. But I still don't think I made it back onto her fourth wall. But that's one story she likes to tell sometimes to just whoever about her being a celebrant and my part in that.
Yeah.
Orli, first of all, I want to compliment you when you walked in. I've known her for a couple of years now, and it's just beautifully young little while. That was a treat for me to see you. But I guess as a parent of 2 teens myself, what I find myself calling on them for, and I'm curious to hear your perspective, is a lot of the technological things that you find yourself needing. Like there was a Barbra Streisand song that I wanted and I was willing to pay for, but the one that was on iTunes or whatever had this dialogue at the beginning, and I'm like, can you steal this off the sheet clip and put it on a CD, or can I do this and how the mechanical stuff? And I find my kids getting a little resistant to helping me. Steal. It's amazing, but you're called upon to find, with funerals it's more the weddings, because I feel more inclined to try and help families pull things together. So do you get called upon a lot for this sort of thing?
I actually haven't been called upon that much to help. I know recently, like, my mom had to buy a couple songs for a funeral, and she just did it. She didn't ask me for any help with it. But, I mean, I could have helped if she wanted me to. But usually she just does that stuff on her own, you know, but if she wanted me to help, I could. I actually, as I think you know and some other people might know, is I did the video for tomorrow for the slideshow of the graduates. And this is the 3rd time I've done that. So that's kind of my help, I guess, to the whole celebrant community, and what I do, or whatever. And I know when my mom got a new computer a couple years ago, I told her, oh, you should get a webcam because you could Skype with like your, clients who aren't nearby. Like she just did a wedding for a couple from Seattle, and like I thought, oh, that'd be perfect, and she just wasn't interested in it at all. So that was my attempt to help her, but she just wasn't into it. But if she wanted to try it sometime, I could still help. Yeah. Right. So there you go. Yeah.
Any other questions?
First of all, I really appreciate you guys coming here and talking to us. I'm about to get certified tomorrow. I have a husband and a daughter who remind me a lot of you. She's 12 right now. And it's been, I have a full-time, very demanding full-time job. I was also a singer in bands, and I've been feeling very guilty, frankly, about a lot of the time that I have not been available to my family. Many a time as my husband come in at midnight and literally just taken my hands off of the keyboard. You've been on that since 9 o'clock in the morning. We haven't even seen you all day because I'm doing so much during the day for my work. And it's been a real challenge to have that balance and to make sure that I'm still being a mom and a wife in addition to all the other parts of me. And my question to you, I guess, is some of the pluses and minuses of living with a celebrant, because that's part of my issue of doing the deep dive into this is the time, because I'm doing funerals, and I know that your life pretty much is going to, once you get that call and you commit to doing a funeral, you're really focused on that family fairly exclusively for your time, at least for the times that you're doing it. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
I think the best advice I can give, it's kind of like running a marathon. You have to build up the stamina to do it. I think if you were to jump in whole hog and start doing a funeral every week, you might have a problem. But if you slowly kind of integrate it into your life, and I think your family will find their place in it and figure out how to make it work. The good news is Orli's 16 and she's fairly independent, and I'm pretty independent, and I've got my own circle of I'm part of a men's organization, so I've got my own little tribe out there as well. So it's great that Dory has her tribe, I have my tribe, and we kind of intermingle every once in a while. She's married a lot of my friends. She's performed funerals for people on our road, our neighbors. So that helps a lot. I mean, it really becomes part of your life, and I think it's one of these things where you just have to get your family to appreciate that over time they're going to see that this actually brings a richness to the house that you just can't equate in dollars and cents or time or anything else. I think the stuff that Dory brings home with her and the experiences she has is just something you can't find anywhere else. And it brings a kind of richness to the family that, hopefully everybody's going to appreciate.
One last question over here.
Yes.
What's the men's organization that you're
It's called MDI. It's an organization in North America, a couple of thousand men. It's MDI stands for Mentor, Discover, Inspire. It's an organization that gives men the opportunity to mentor other men, kind of discover who they are. I've got a sweat lodge on my property. Based on what I heard today, I will make sure that we are paying homage to Native Americans whenever we do the Four Directions, which is very big part of what we do. But again, Dory's married a lot of people in my organization as well, because they get the vibrancy of ritual, and that's really one of the things that I think both Orli and I have been really, really lucky in with Dory finding the celebrant community, is it's kind of brought this ritual richness into our house. I mean, you come into the house and there's all these little knickknacks all over the place, and everything's a ritual.
Well, that just reminded me of, in our kitchen we now have a blackboard, and I know my mom loves to write quotes on the blackboard, like for the day or just something, which seems like a very celebrant thing to do. And now in her new office upstairs, she just got a blackboard wall, which could be used for future inspiration and everything. So seems like another celebrant thing to do.
I just have one quick one.
Sure.
Do you read by your statement there that we're going to have more nicknames because she is...
Yes. Yeah, so to learn to welcome them into your house. The only thing I will suggest is I've kind of counterbalanced Dory's rituals by bringing my own rituals into the house. Every March, I have a ritual where the entire family has to fill out brackets for March Madness, and I make Dory participate in that. And it's a very sacred ritual in our household.